Today is Thursday, and it means that it's time for another The Finals update. We recognize that Recon Sense's ability for the medium build needs an overhaul, and we are working on that right now. You can look forward for that change and more next week's update, which is amazing. They cooked up the heavy, they are cooking up the Recon, and there is gonna be less and less pain points when it comes to meta compositions. Great! Alright, moving on to the balance changes themselves, we got defibrillators decrease the length of invulnerability applied after revive to 0.75 seconds from 1.5 seconds, as well as decrease the length of invulnerability when reviving, slow reviving, from 0.75 to 1.5 seconds. Eventually, it will lead to players being extremely accurate with rezzing their teammates, because the second you get rezzed, you're gonna get completely devoured alive. So perhaps this time it will force players to take the trophies behind the cover, it will force players to be really accurate and mindful when it comes to the defibrillator timings, because before that you can just no-brain it and do whatever the hell you want, res whatever the hell you want, the person is gonna be absolutely okay. Not only that, but you never know when the person stops being invulnerable, and sometimes you would spend precious bullets in order to kill him, while in reality he's gonna kill you because the value in invulnerability after res itself was freaking massive. Moving on to the weapons category, and we have our Revolver Nerf. It feels like decrease the amount of bullet dispersion applied when aiming down sights, reduce damage fall off start range to 23 meters from 35, and reduced damage fall off end range to 40 meters from 50. I mean, are they trying to make the weapon accurate, but have it with less range? Fundamentally speaking, Revolver was already a really bad weapon of choice because of huge downtime when it comes to you applying pressure and reloading, as well as the fact that the weapon is just incredibly inconsistent. It feels like no matter how accurate you are aiming at the person, the bullet is gonna curve around his head and land somewhere on the wall next to a person. I absolutely disagree with the reduced damage fall off start range change. They completely killed the ranged option, because why would you even possibly think about getting a revolver if there is a better option up close, which is a model 1887, or which is a better option and a more reliable option than an AK, which is really forgiving if you miss a lot of bullets. It allows you to apply constant pressure throughout your cooldown cycling, and Revolver just does not allow you to have any of that. I don't quite understand what was the change for. Absolute L change. CL40 increased player damage from 100 to 110. This is a 10% increase in damage, and it's actually pretty significant. You have to understand that now you will be able to completely cook mediums, and it's gonna be a little bit faster. The weapon fundamentally is still incredibly unreliable. The weapon is just terrible in itself because it's a projectile thing in an FPS game, and it only has 4 bullets, so you will never call this gun meta any day soon. But it's incredibly fun for casuals, and I feel like you will have some success if you will learn a few geometry tricks from your math class and start hitting bullets mid-air, so that's gonna be also great. You have to be on target, you have to deal impact damage in order to be useful, because if you land your bomb next to a target, it's gonna deal 0 to no damage as a result. Scar got damage decrease from 26 to 25. This is a 4% change, and it might seem like not a lot, but you have to realize that you will not be able to not only cook heavy players, you never were able to do that because Scar is notoriously terrible against bubbles and mesh shields, but also it's gonna be a lot harder for you to kill lights and mediums. And it feels like Scar and Recon meta is going down after the next week, because developers decided to completely cook this. It's interesting how the season is 90 days, but they completely changed the game like 3 times already, which is really strange and interesting at the same time. The scar is gonna get a lot higher when it comes to your skill ceiling. You would have to be a lot better and a lot more precise with your aim if you want to be useful on it, because what would happen is that you would spray your gun, and if you miss a few bullets, you're gonna get outbursted by AK user. If you don't kill the light and leave him at 1 HP, he's gonna cook you. Heavy players were able to cook you even before absolute W change. A lot of people would play with AK instead right now, which is amazing. Guardian turret got a health decrease from 300 to 280. I don't think this is gonna be significant, as pretty much no one plays Guardian turret, and even if they do, they quickly realize that 80% of the time they are rotating, they are fighting for vault, they are fighting for the position of power, they are trying to retake the high ground, and Guardian turret is just terrible with all of that. You don't have any room to place it, and the second you place it and think that this is gonna do something, people just LOS it, people just avoid peeking the corner from which the Guardian turret is shooting, and yeah, they just change the location of the fight and whatever. I don't know why. MGL32 increased player damage to 83 from 80. This weapon was incredibly terrible, especially in the contrast, because they just completely refuse to nerf heavy shotgun. It feels like developers are just shotgun players at heart. This is why they are not completely killing this weapon, because fundamentally speaking, in an FPS game, shotguns should never exist. You should have tracking weapons only, and then maybe projectile weapons like an addition. Shotguns are making the game unfun for the players that are playing with them and for the players that are playing against them. When we talk about this Junkrat weapon, I'm not sure if you can like find a spot. It's gonna be a B-tier weapon. You can absolutely make it work, but at the end of the day, you really want to contest enemy heavy players. You really want to reliably kill players that are trying to come up and kill a person that's trying to steal the cash out. You want to kill people that are stealing the cash out. You want to defend it properly, and none of that is gonna be useful when it comes to the Junkrat weapon. L Nerf or buff in that case. Rowing knives decrease the amount of projectile dispersion applied when falling, decrease the amount of projectile dispersion applied when sprinting. So I was very curious about what's gonna happen with throwing knives. Maybe they overbuffed it and now it's gonna be incredibly nice, but then again, no. Fundamentally speaking, the weapon is just terrible, because you would have to hit a headshot in order to reliably one tap light player, and then against heavy player you're just gonna die from cringe, because like you shoot and then there is a reload animation, you shoot, and like by the time you shoot second time, even if you hit every single throwing knife, the 4 out of 4, you're still gonna die from RPG, you're still gonna die from shotgun, you're still gonna die from C4 cringe, there's gonna be bubble, mesh, and you're just like, what the hell am I even doing here? Why am I playing with throwing cards in an FPS game? That's exactly my thought process. Didn't do anything, the weapon became a little bit more accurate, but that's that. And then there is a few bug fixes. They fixed an issue where certain GPUs would sometimes crash, which is a massive W, because I personally struggled with crashes a lot at the start, and then from time to time I would crash, and it was not a fun experience, especially if it costs you the game ultimately. And then they fixed an issue where crossplay settings would not be respected when the player was in a party. Doesn't matter, I have never died against PS5 player, have never died against Xbox player. They all are just terrible due to low FPS, and then controller is being gutted with aim assist is being completely nerfed, so that's good. As well as updated matchmaking configuration in tournament and ranked tournament modes to help ensure closer matches by skill rating. This is BS, they never changed anything. You still have weak enemies, you still have weak teammates in solo. We'll see what they cook later on. They completely need to rework matchmaking system, making it rank based. So if you are Diamond 1, you can only queue against Diamond 1 players. Unfortunately, developers still decide to play against bronzes, party with bronzes, with silvers and golds, which definitely not helps the game survive. This is why you see such terrible player numbers. Let me know in the comment section what do you think. See you.